You grow up dreaming of this. The draft, the spotlight, the hat, the handshake. You're standing on stage, suit too tight, cameras flashing, Gary Bettman grinning like he just sold you a cursed NFT. You're the first overall pick, the chosen one, the next big thing. And for one night, you are. You're trending, you're celebrated, you're immortalized in highlight reels before you've even laced up for warm-ups. But the next morning, the dream shatters. Because you didn't just get drafted, you got sentenced to the worst team in the league. A roster held together with duct tape and buyout contracts. A locker room where morale goes to die. You went from being the best in your class to being the best player on a 17-win team that plays in front of 4,000 silent fans and a raccoon in the rafters. You're not walking into a team, you're walking into a crime scene. And guess what? You're the cleanup crew. But if you thought draft night was the hard part, you're about to find out that the real challenge is just the beginning. You thought getting drafted was the hard part. Nah. Now, you've got to play for the team that earned the right to pick you by being historically terrible. Welcome to rock bottom. You show up for training camp and half the roster's on PTOs. Your line mates are fourth liners from last year's tank squad and a guy who just got out of the KHL because his team folded mid-season. Your decor, 6 pylons and a vibes guy. Your goalie leads the league in post-game apologies. You're told it's a rebuild, but what they really mean is we're going to throw you on the ice for 20 plus minutes a night and pray you survive. You're playing top-line minutes with bottom-tier talent. You're not being developed, you're being thrown into the fire and asked to lead the rescue. And when the team loses, it's not the GM, it's not the coach, it's not the fact your third-pair defense is Ben Harper and Mark Pesic on expired contracts. It's you, because first overall means first to blame. And as you try to keep your head above water, you realize the expectations aren't just about surviving, they're about saving everyone else. Most rookies get time to adjust. You get billboards. You're not a kid with potential, you're the cornerstone, the face of the franchise. The golden ticket that's supposed to erase a decade of mediocrity and fill a half-empty arena on a Tuesday night against Arizona. They don't ease you in, they hand you the keys to a flaming car and say, fix it. Suddenly, every loss is a referendum on your character. Struggle in your first 10 games? He's not ready. He's got an attitude problem. Should have drafted the other guy. Meanwhile, you're still figuring out where the team parking lot is. But that doesn't matter. You're not here to learn. You're here to save. The coach expects leadership. The fans expect points. The owner expects revenue. You can't just play hockey. You got to be a role model, a mentor, a press conference god, and a top-line producer, all before you grow your first playoff beard. You don't get a development curve. You get a messiah complex. Of course, the pressure doesn't just come from inside the building. Outside, the spotlight that once felt warm quickly turns blinding. By your second week in the league, the Wolves are already circling. You miss an empty net? Is this guy a bust? Go pointless in back-to-back games? Should they have drafted someone else? You're 18, still learning systems, still figuring out where the team meals are. But no one cares, because first overall isn't a title, it's a target. And the media, they don't ask questions, they load the gun. What's his compete level? Is he mature enough to handle the pressure? Does he even want it? You wear a hoodie to an interview and suddenly you're immature. You say you're still learning and suddenly you're weak. Every press scrum becomes a trap. Every headline is a heat check. You're not a player, you're a story. And bad stories go viral. You can't just develop, you have to defend yourself. Every game, every quote, every clickbait thumbnail with your face on it. The spotlight was supposed to be your welcome. Turns out it's a sniper scope. But the media is just the beginning. Inside the room, things get colder. The guys in the room, they don't care about your draft status. They care about ice time. You're not walking into a brotherhood. You're stepping into a job site. One where everyone thinks you're here to take theirs. They size you up. Cold nods, casual chirps. You get your signing bonus yet? What kind of car you drive? It's not curiosity, it's scouting. You're 18, you just want to tape your stick right and not sound dumb during team stretch. But the vets see you as a threat. They don't hate you, but they don't help you either. No invites, no tips, no trust. You're the kid with the big contract, the marketing push, and the pressure to deliver. And until you do deliver, you're just a stranger in their room. Even if you manage to find your footing in the room, the scoreboard tells a different story, and patience is running out. By year 2, the mood shifts. The team's still losing, still blowing leads, still bottom 5 in every stat that matters. And now everyone's looking at you. The GM? He needs to step up. The coach? He's learning to handle adversity. The fans? Overrated. You've got 60 points and no help. You're dragging this team through quicksand. But somehow, it's your rebuild that's failing. Doesn't matter if the roster's broken. You're the one they branded as a savior. And now that the miracle didn't happen, you're the one they blame for the curse continuing. As the seasons pile up and the losses mount, the narrative around you hardens. There's no more benefit of the doubt. By year 3, the expectations haven't lowered. They've calcified. You're not allowed to improve steadily. You're not allowed to struggle. You're either elite or a cautionary tale. If you light it up, well, yeah, he should. He's the first overall pick. If you don't, total bust. Another wasted talent. There's no in between. You're not a player with a career. You're a measuring stick. Everything you do is compared to the other first overalls. Crosby, McDavid, Ovechkin. If you're not them, you're the guy they bring up at the next draft year and say, let's not make that mistake again. And even when you finally deliver, the goalposts move. Success isn't celebrated. It's simply expected. Even when you do start to succeed, it's not yours. You score 40, carry the team, put the franchise back on the map. And they say, finally living up to expectations. You can't win, not really, because everything you accomplish isn't seen as greatness. It's seen as finally delivering what was owed. You weren't just drafted to be good. You were drafted to be perfect, and anything less, still a letdown. Just when you think you've earned some breathing room, the next chapter brings a new kind of pressure, this time with dollar signs attached. By year 4, you get paid. The extension, the big money, the face of the franchise deal. You should feel relief, security. Instead, you feel the rope tighten. Now every mistake costs millions. Miss a back check? That's $8.5 million skating in circles. Go cold in the playoffs? We'll never win with that contract. You're not a star, you're a cap hit. You're the reason they can't sign help, the reason the roster's thin, the reason they're stuck. Doesn't matter that you're producing, that you're leading, that you're surviving the pressure. The contract becomes your jersey, and no one cheers for the budget. But it's not just your own journey under the microscope. Every step your peers take becomes ammunition in your story. By year 5, it's not just your team that defines you, it's your peers. Every draft class comparison is a slap in the face. The guy taken second, he's an all-star. The guy taken fourth, he's already got a ring. And you're still finding your game. Analysts do redrafts every year, and guess what? You're never going first. Every time another guy from your class goes off, it's not just good hockey, it's ammo. You were supposed to be better. Why didn't we take him instead? You're no longer a top pick. You're the guy everyone passed on, retroactively. And as the comparisons stack up, the people who once cheered the loudest start to turn. At first, they adored you. Your jersey sold out. You were the future. But when the results don't come fast enough, the crowd turns. Quick. They boo you at home, roast you online, demand trades, call you soft. You used to be hope. Now you're a target. You go out for dinner and hear whispers. You post a photo and get flooded with, focus on your game. They forget the points you put up. They remember the turnover in Game 5. And once they turn, it's permanent. They don't want you to succeed. They want to be right about you being a failure. In the end, the applause fades, the spotlight dims, and you're left with the reality of what it means to be first overall. So yeah, being drafted first overall, it's not a dream. It's a contract, a microscope, a burden disguised as a blessing. You don't get time, you don't get mistakes, you don't get to just play. You get pressure, and if you survive it, you don't get praised. You get told you finally did what you were supposed to do. So enjoy that moment on stage, because it might be the last time they cheer for you.